how I assess colonies and determine where they're going to go for the winter. The smallest colonies will go in the windows of my bee room. Medium-sized colonies are going to be stacked underneath this roof alongside of my garage, and the large colonies are going to go outside. So I got some large colonies here. They weren't large when I started moving colonies around at the beginning of summer, and they ended up getting large afterwards. So my goal is to, I don't want any double deep colonies here underneath the roof. I was thinking I could get 3 stacks of single deeps with a medium. This colony here has an old queen, and they came on really late, but now they're really large. So here it is, getting towards the end of August. I'm going to have to move them to a different location before I move them back to where the large colonies are, and determine whether they're going to keep this queen for the whole winter. So it's important to keep notes. This was the list I made at the beginning of summer. So a new colony, basically, when I made this list, was a 2021 queen. And this is all the numbers, and here's the old. And I do all my mating here at home. And I'm aware that sometimes a virgin queen will go into an older colony, a different colony other than the mating nuke. And if one of these old colonies here is doing really well, then there's a good chance they got a new queen. If they're not doing well and they're getting really small, then that queen has probably reached the end of her line and she needs to be replaced. I'm not going to waste my time keeping old queens to winter anymore. And then I have some of these 2021 queens that aren't doing very well. So let me, we'll open the colony and I'll show you. Okay, number 3 was one of my largest colonies at the beginning of the summer, but they have actually gotten smaller, and I just checked, they still have a queen, and they're not making queen cells. Sometimes the bees, they don't realize they should replace their queen, and sometimes a queen is sick for a while and she stops laying, and the bees don't make queen cells because they still have a queen and they don't realize they should replace their sick queen, so you end up losing that colony. So number 3 is probably going to be requeened with one of my new colonies, 2022 queens. But this queen in number 3, she's big, she looks healthy, but the colony is not in the bottom deep anymore. When a colony doesn't go from one deep to the next, it doesn't matter if the brood pattern is good. Here's a colony here, 168. And according to my notes, 168 is a 2021 queen, and it's more than the brood pattern. Let me show you. It's whether or not they leave a single deep and get into the second deep. And you see the bottom deep, nothing down there. And you see the frame. It looks really good. Completely full. You think, okay, this is a great queen, a great colony, but yet they haven't gotten into the bottom deep. Here it is towards the end of August. This colony here is probably going to get a new queen. So here's the other frame too. This one looks good too. If you were to look, wait a minute, what we got going on here? Well, sometimes you see a bunch of bees, you think they're balling their queen, but no. And I don't see any queen cells here, and I'm sure the queen is probably up here. See, they don't have a honey super, they just have a medium. So this colony hasn't made any honey for me this summer. And when you split a colony, I make my own queens. I make new queens all summer long with mating nukes. When you do a split, this basically means off of this original colony here, I took a mating nuke off and I put it in 11 is what that means. So I look through here. Do I see 158? Or 168. Wait a minute, 168. Yeah, 168, and it took a split off June 13th into 102. So I've got several papers here. And then I moved that colony over here, and it was supposed to get large, and they didn't grow. So the queen is not putting out what she should. And I don't know if 102 made it or not. But here it is 2 months later, and this colony is still in one deep. So let me pause this. Okay, here is the queen. Her wings look okay. Oh, there's a little bit of damage there. She's a good-sized queen. The first summer, my new queens build up their colony. The second summer, I use them for honey production. The third summer, strictly for mating nukes. This queen right here is on her second summer, and she hasn't made any honey. Do you think she's going to be around for her third summer to make mating nukes? Chances are pretty slim, but I'm not going to kill her yet. It'll be something that I'll do just before winter, before I do my varroa mite treatment sometime this fall. She's not really all that big around. We'll check this here, see how many eggs are on this frame. I'm not seeing a lot. She's pittering out. This is a term I use for when a queen isn't laying as much as she used to. Yeah, she's not gonna be around much longer. So again, she's got a great brood pattern here for 3 frames, but on the next frame she's taken too long to fill that frame out, and the colony has been suffering all summer long because she's not putting out as many eggs as she should. Before you put the frame in, you always check to make sure you know where the queen is before you slide that frame in. So this colony here is going to be replaced. These 2 here have new queens. What I did a week ago was I went through and I took away all the honey supers that weren't being used. So I'm going through and I'm checking the colonies that lost their honey super because I gave them a honey super thinking that they were going to fill that, and they haven't gotten into it. So I'm going to check those queens, see if they're still there, and make notes as to which ones are going to be replaced. And I'll go ahead and I will put this one back together, and if you want to wait for me to check another one. And I know you're probably thinking, well, why wait till the end of the summer, early fall or whatever, before winter to replace a queen? Why not replace her sooner? Well, sometimes you don't know until midsummer or later in the summer how a queen has done during the summer. And a lot of these large colonies, I don't even check them all summer long. So sometimes it takes a month or 2 before you realize they're not doing as well as the others. That's when you start checking them. And then the other thing is, I make new queens, but every time I put a new queen in a different colony, they can't handle, I guess they can't handle the stress of the large number of bees forcing her to lay, and she ends up failing, and she ends up getting bald. And the other thing is, sometimes you want to wait a month with a new queen to see if she actually was mated well and if it's worth the time to put her in another colony. So anytime I've tried putting a new queen in a colony at the beginning of summer, it hasn't worked out very well. So I decided, heck, don't do that then. Don't put a new queen in the colony at the beginning of summer. Wait towards the end of summer, early fall, put a new queen in a colony. So basically, the colony that you're putting that queen in may be a colony that's not doing very well, but you're going to wait until the end of summer So the new queens you have been evaluated. Okay, it's as simple as that. Let me pause again. Oh, another thing I want to mention, the easiest way to know if a colony is doing well or not, just go and pick it up. You know, I went through and I picked up colonies, and if it's a new colony, they just started, you know, yeah, they're not going to be very heavy. But if they're an older colony, and they should be heavy, that's fairly heavy. This one here wasn't heavy, and the reason why they're not heavy is because the other thing is when you start pulling out frames, there's nothing on these outside frames. They haven't been doing well all summer. So again, yeah, you just not much you can do about it. When you're evaluating old or new queens to put in old colonies, I don't buy queens, so that's what happens. Let me pause again. Okay, number 66. This is the next one I'm checking. They don't have a honey super. I removed the honey super. I look at my papers here. It's a 2021 queen. So this colony had a new queen last year. But why aren't they doing well enough to have a honey super on top? Let's look and see when and how many times I've done splits. 66, took a split off, went into 43. And I didn't write down the date. Sometimes I forget to do things. But anyway, they haven't grown enough to make any honey. So let me pause this and we'll open this up. Okay, this one's not doing well at all. There's very few bees in the top deep, and I'm going to assume there's probably none in the bottom deep, but we'll take a look. Bottom deep's empty. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look to see if the queen is here in this deep. This colony here is having issues. Pause. Okay, this deep has 4 frames that aren't completely full of brood. It's not a good brood pattern. So this is a good example of a queen that doesn't have a good brood pattern. Look, see, are there eggs in there? Didn't see a queen on these 4 frames. So these 4 frames are about the same all the way across. You see, not much on this frame at all. This is a failing colony. They can't even winter outside. And let me, well, I'm going to pause this. I haven't found the queen yet. Let's see if they have a queen. Sometimes they lose the queen, they don't realize it. And they don't even attempt to make a new queen. It's like most of the colonies I find that are having issues, I open them up and there's no queen. And I don't know if it's the chemicals, the toxic chemicals in the hive causing things not to be normal. But, you know, the environment's not right. And it shows by the way our bees act that things aren't right in our environment, you know. You can get rid of varroa mites. There's no varroa mites in this colony. There might be a few, and they will be building up during the summer. But what I'm saying is, varroa mites aren't really the issue with a queen not laying well. If a queen is doing well, and they have varroa mites, the queen will continue to do well until the end of the stages when the varroa mites take a toll on the colony and they get varrosis. But during the summer, I've never had issues with varroa mites. It's usually been toxic chemicals causing my queens not to be very healthy, because this is a 2021 queen. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this and see if we can find this queen, see what she looks like. Alright, here's the queen. She's up in the medium. She looks healthy. She's running around. If you see a queen that isn't running around very fast, that's probably because she's sick. But this queen looks good, and she's running around. There are a lot of eggs in here. Yeah, there are a lot of eggs. But any colony that hasn't produced enough bees to make honey for me this summer, the queen is not going to winter for me. I'm going to get rid of her and give them a new queen, because you're just wasting your time and effort. I don't even know where she went. Oh, there she is. And that's the other thing. When you find the queen, you keep your eye on her, so that when you put the frame back in, you know right away where she is. And you slide the frames together before that queen gets towards the end of the frame. So basically that's it. You know, you just, I don't check every colony. Large colonies, I don't need to worry about them. It's when the colony isn't doing that well and they're not making honey for me, then that's when I start checking them. And I know how old the queen is, and I know the last time, or you try to know the last time I split and how many times I split off that colony. And then that determines whether the queen should be doing better than she is. So this colony isn't doing all that well. Okay? So basically that's it. All right. Thank you.